Here on the Rhine River, legends were born, kingdoms rose and fell, and stories still linger in the mist. Medieval castles cling to rugged cliffs, vineyards spill down sunlit hillsides, and half-timbered towns feel frozen in time. Today, we are stepping into this fairy tale and exploring it from every angle. On the river, on land, and on the rails. We're Madison and Ivan. Let's madventure. Guten Morgen! We woke up in Frankfurt before sunrise to catch the metro to the train to Rüdesheim, where we will then catch the last boat of the day along the Rhine River.
It's foggy. We're supposed to get on a boat and look up at castles, and the visibility is so low. Now we're on step 3, which is getting on the boat, and the boat's website was the hardest one so far. So I'm really hoping that it's real and that it's running at 11 like I understand it to be, and then everything will be smooth sailing, smooth boating from there. We have what I believe is the correct boat looking ready to go. If the price I saw is correct, I think it's only 12 euros per person.
Having confirmed that the boat indeed exists, we have about half an hour to explore this cute little town.
It is still morning, but it is wine o'clock here on the Rhine. Like, it's literally poured out and ready to go by the tens.
We're on the Rhine River.
Yeah. Officially. Hello, guten Morgen. We made it on the boat. Even though a lot of people in Germany speak English, it's still hard to try to understand all the little delays on transportation and stuff. But we're here. We made it. Oh, it's so beautiful.
We're listening to a free audio tour on the Rick Steves Audio Europe app as we float along the river. It's super easy to follow along too because there's these huge numerical markers along the river that they use in the tours so you can time everything. I think this boat actually also has some audio tour information in German and English, but it is so windy up here that we can't hear it at all. But we can see our first site, a monument celebrating a united Germany. Before 1870, this was just a patchwork of hundreds of small independent lands, each with its own ruler and castle. The very castles we'll be passing today. And we are going to see a lot of them. Why are there so many here, you ask? Because the Rhine has been one of the world's busiest shipping rivers since Roman times, when this was the empire's northern boundary. We've seen so many shipping barges full of goods already today, and that smells like opportunity. In medieval times, before the unification of Germany, these 300 small, independent countries that were here looked at this trade route and said, I can tax the heck out of that. So they would build a castle on the river and a tower on the opposite side and hang chains across the river to stop each ship and collect his toll. There were so many custom stops. No wonder merchants were some of the earliest supporters of a unified Germany. What blows my mind is how many of these castles they don't even talk about in the audio tour. let alone the stunning churches and towns. There is just too much history here. Most of these castles date back to the 11th, 12th, and 13th centuries, and they've had so many power struggles and religious wars until the French destroyed most of them, fearing a strong Germany.
This is an 11th century castle. It was unfortunately destroyed during a French invasion. They came in and wiped out a lot of these castles to prevent a potential future attack or future resistance. But a lot of it was built in the reminiscent style during the Romantic era.
Coming here in the fall is beautiful, being able to see the leaves changing, but it is cold. We had to move to this place where the wind is blocking for us. And I got a hot chocolate. Heiß chocolate. It's just so good. This is not Swiss Miss. This is delicious.
Look at that too.
So lovely. This is where the Romans planted the first Riesling grapes because it is particularly great land for growing wine.
But all good fairy tales need a little danger, and we have made it to the most treacherous part of the river. First, a reef known as the Seven Maidens. According to legend, the prince of the castle we just passed had 7 spoiled daughters that he needed to marry off, so he invited 7 knights over and demanded that they choose a husband, but the girls found something to complain about with each man and tried to just run away and escape by boat. So God punished them and turned them into these rocks. Next, the Rhine's most famous legend, the Lorelei, a 450-foot cliff that lines the narrowest and deepest point of the river, where a siren was said to sing sailors to their doom as their ships crashed onto these rocks. If the video ends here, you know why.
We didn't let her siren song distract us. Thank you, Captain up there. You did well.
We have successfully made it to our stop, St. Goar, home of Rheinfels Castle. For more than 2,000 years, this was where sailors would stop to catch their breath after surviving the seductive and treacherous Lorelei. So we will too. It's a cute little tourist town, home to the world's largest free-hanging cuckoo clock, but most importantly, the castle, which we've got a hike to get up to.
Have you been missing hiking?
No, not yet.
It's been almost a month. After the 4 full days of hiking on the Salcantay Trek in Peru, Ivan said he was done hiking for a while. So even just getting him to hike up to Rheinfels Castle here in St. Goar is a total win.
This is my type of hiking. Leisurely, beautiful things to see, close to civilization.
Rheinfels Castle was once the mightiest castle on the Rhine, first built in 1245 to charge tolls to river traffic.
Who should we tax? Them. Let's tax them. Throw the chains.
They got pipes. Those are expensive.
Yeah. You owe us at least 20 euros.
That'll cover lunch.
It has seen so many wars and hosted so many influential people over the years. By the 1600s, this was the strongest and most modern fortress in the Holy Roman Empire. And it withstood a siege of 28,000 French troops in 1692. But 100 years later, the French Revolutionary Army destroyed it without a fight. Unlike a lot of the castles that we've seen today, it hasn't been fully reconstructed, which to me is really, really cool. Walking around these ruins is absolutely breathtaking. You can really feel the 800 years of history here.
This is one of my favorite parts of my first trip to Europe, just being here on the Rhine, but coming up here to the ruins of Rheinfels Castle here was just like absolutely breathtaking. To be able to just be here, just wandering through these ancient castle ruins so casually.
Honestly, just unreal. But now it's time to take the train to Bacharach.
We are in Bacharach, looking for water. That's how we learned how to say it on the train. But we see alcohol everywhere, and there's no water to be found.
I'm thirsty.
But it's cute. Just drink up these views, babes. Water secured. And now we're gonna walk on this medieval wall. We're lounging here in Bacharach, as the train pronounces it, Bacharach. My German is coming along. This mineral water ist gut. Practicing my German on Duolingo. Germany was the first European country that I ever traveled to. And doing this road trip along the Rhine with my family is definitely one of my greatest travel memories. It was just such a special experience that just truly felt like I was being immersed in the like classic history and architecture of Europe, you know? And it's just so special, and it's so exciting and special to be sharing that with Ivan now.
Your romantic partner?
Yes, on the romantic Rhine. Oh, and this is definitely like the jewel of the romantic Rhine. This is definitely one of the places that stood out the most from our time here last time, and one of the most special places to be spending time this time. Part of that is because of the really cool medieval wall that we are currently on. We just hiked along the wall. Here's one of the guard towers. Guard tower here, guard tower here, dilapidated church over here, a beautiful castle up here that now houses a youth hostel, but was once one of the castles that participated in being able to choose the Holy Roman Emperor. And for a brief stint in the 1200s, this city, Bacharach, was actually the capital of the Holy Roman Empire. This area is extremely known for its wine, and the city is Bacharach, which is believed to be named after Bacchus, who was the god of wine and festivity in Roman mythology. So just super fun to be experiencing so much history, not only actual history, but also Madison's personal travel history, being back here and just getting to have this special experience now with my romantic partner on the romantic Rhine.
It's beautiful. It's very relaxing. Just taking in the history and the views.
Not only are you seeing like the beautiful river, the beautiful castles, the beautiful churches, but on top of all of that, you're also seeing just the beautiful vineyards filling the hills here, just absolutely filling the Rhine River Valley. And this is definitely some of the best wine you can get here in the Rhine, known for its Riesling. I guess we're going to have to find out. We're going to have to go drink some wine. Hey babe, you Bacharach.
Will you be mine on the Rhine?
Looking fine on the Rhine. These towers guarding the wall were believed to have been built in the 14th century. Prost!
Prost! Wine on the Rhine. Oh, that's delicious.
This is really good too. Oftentimes the Rieslings that we get at home in the US are the hyper sweet Rieslings, but this one was a fine herb. We like Googled that really fast and saw that it means like kind of more of a semi-sweet.
There's a hint of sweetness on the finish. That's really, really nice.
It has like the sweet flavors that you expect from a Riesling, but also it's not overly sweet. Like it somehow has like all the right flavors, but has a much more natural sweetness. That's, dang.
Rick Steves taught us that like Riesling grapes were like the first grapes that the Romans brought and planted here in the Rhine Valley, and like beautiful bells.
Yeah. The Romans are the ones that planted the grapes, and now we're here in Bacharach, the former capital of the Roman Empire at one point in the 12th century, enjoying our wine, which the Romans brought. I'm curious to try the drier version of the Riesling as well, just to see like, because this is semi-dry, but it still maintains that classic Riesling flavor. What is the drier version? Is it pushing it too far? I think we might have to get a second round. Earlier this year, we were in Mendoza, Argentina, learning all about the process of making wines. But there, the red wine is king, especially the Malbec. So it's fun to now be somewhere in a white wine capital of the world.
And I loved all the red wines we tried there, but I do prefer a white wine.
Even there, our favorite wine that we tried was actually a Chardonnay. It was really good. And not only is this just amazing, vibey, so lovely, like look at this view of the old church over here. So cool. And then this, my man. And I'm saying my man because that's actually how you say husband in German. Round two. We started with the semi-sweet Riesling and it was incredible, but now we have a sweet one and a dry one because the Riesling we got was just so good. The semi-dry was perfect. We were like, we want to take it in both directions. We want to experience the full, real range, full wine tasting before we take our long train back to Frankfurt. Gotta get a little bit of fun going on before you get on a long train. Prost.
Prost.
That's lovely. I still think that the semi-dry is like the perfect middle ground. I really love it. Just like honestly with like the Madeira wine that we like too. Like I think we love that middle. That middle is like the perfect place for us.
But like this one, it's the dry version, and this is like, you could have this with a main, in my opinion. You know, you could have it earlier on in your meal absolutely fine, even though it's a Riesling.
That being said, like this one, I think of Riesling typically as more of a dessert wine because in the US, oftentimes when you get Riesling, it is like one of the hyper sweet versions of Riesling. This is a sweet Riesling and it's good. Like it has I think it's still very well balanced. It's not the hyper sweet that I think of when I think of Riesling. It's this perfect, balanced, delicious wine still.
It's definitely the sweetest wine we've had today, but it's nothing compared to many of the Rieslings we've had before.
And this is amazing, actually. Yeah. Wow.
Fruity.
It's like this. It's like a sweet fruit that isn't sweet. You know, like.
Yeah. But you still get all the right flavor notes of the sweet fruit, so you're really not missing out on the added sweetness.
It's like almost like your brain is like getting the joy of having a sweet drink or sweet dessert without any of the actual sweetness.
Don't let us actually be the experts on wine, but we did learn in Mendoza that like one of the big things with making like this is a Riesling, they're the same grape, but one of the main ways that you make a sweeter Riesling or a sweeter wine in general is by picking the grapes later in harvest when they're like even more ripe and just like so ready that like they're almost about to turn gross. That's when you make the sweetest, most dessert-like wines. Late harvest grapes. So this, I guess, is probably an earlier harvest Riesling. But because it's Riesling, I think it still just is a sweeter grape to begin with, and it's delicious. This is actually so good.
And we'll have to show you in a second, but they just turned the lights on this church here.
It looks so beautiful. Check this out.
Oh, we had too much fun at the wine house. It got dark on us.
This day flew by. There's like so much more I would love to do here in the valley. There's so many more castles to tour. There's so much more wine to drink.
What a storybook day. From medieval castles to modern life floating past them, the Rhine reminds us that time never stands still, and history is being made every day. Thanks so much for joining us. Please hit those subscribe and like buttons. It truly helps us so much, and we'll see you on the next one.